everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to be doing a little bit of a different program than what I normally do. We're going to prep ahead. We're buying meat in bulk. I'm going to show you how to cut it into individual servings and then show you a couple of different ways of freezing. The first thing we're going to do is a pork loin. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is cut this thing in half because it is so big. This is a boneless pork loin. As you can see, there's no bone here. There is a fat cap. Now what I like to do is to cut through the fat cap before I slice it, and that way you're cutting through that silver skin that's underneath and it won't curl and buckle on you. So just make a couple of slits until you get down to the meat. And I'm going to cut pork chops. Sometimes I like them to be thicker, sometimes I like them to be thinner. I'm going to do both. And then I'm going to take this other half. I'm going to do this as a roast. So I will just cut this in half. Now, if you have a vacuum seal, what you want to do is decide how big you want your bag, and you want it to be a little bigger. And I'm going to seal the bag itself. I'm going to put my thick cut chops in here in one layer, and then hit your vacuum and seal. And you can see it sucking the air out. And see, you have a beautiful vacuum sealed bag. I just write on there what it is and the date I froze it. That will go in your freezer for, when you vacuum seal it, you can keep it for up to probably about a year. But I'm going to show you what to do if you don't have one of those. Get yourself a Ziploc freezer bag. Get out as much of the air as you can. Get yourself a straw. Seal it up to one end. Suck that air out of there. And you've got something that's almost airtight. It's not as good as this, but if you don't have one of those, this is a much better way to freeze it than to just stick it in one and stick it in the freezer. The air will freezer burn your meats. Now, I'm going to show you how to do kind of the same process, but with ground beef. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put half of it in this bowl. We'll deal with that in a minute. And I'm going to do the other one just like I did the pork chops. But now I'm going to show you a little trick. With beef, before you seal it, if you will just flatten it out, number one, it's a space saver in your freezer, but it's also quicker to thaw. Then I'm going to hit the vacuum seal. Now, if you want to take the other half of that and make your hamburger patties, season them however you like. I'm going to mix it up. I also have got some parchment paper that I cut into little squares. However the size you like your hamburger patties. Then I'm going to lay it on one. If you put the pieces of parchment paper or wax paper in between, they don't stick together. I have a bigger bag. You could do the same thing in a Ziploc baggie, but I like to go ahead and put a parchment on the top to keep it from, just makes it easier, and stick them in your vacuum sealer. These are just a couple of little hints and tricks that you can try and save yourself some money. Have your family's meals ready to go, or your meals. It's great if you're one or two people. Pop it in your freezer and then you're ready to go. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Thank you for joining with me, and I will see you next time on Everyday Manna.